Welcome back to On the Road with JVW. We're going to do our final hike now in the Taos area. We're at the Big Arsenic Trail, which is in the Rio Grande del Norte National Monument, Wild Rivers Recreation Area. Now, we've done a couple hikes already in the Rio Grande del Norte National Monument along the rim and right close to the bridge. But today we're about an hour north of there. Took us about an hour to drive up here, and this trail is a highly rated trail. It's a short trail. It's only about 2 miles round trip, but the hard work apparently is on the way back. It's a trail down into the gorge. Not sure if it goes completely to the river or not. We'll find that out here as we go. This Wild Rivers Recreation Area looks to be a pretty interesting area. We've kind of been driving through a little bit. There are a number of primitive campgrounds here, very well developed loop road with a nice bike trail, and looks to be a really underutilized area. We've seen a few people out here, but not many. I stopped at the visitor center. There was one fellow working there. I think he was a volunteer, and he seemed thrilled to see me. The parking lot was empty, and he said, yeah, we don't get too many people out here. So that's the kind of hike we like and the kind of area we like. So frankly, if I'd done a little better research, probably would have got out here earlier and looked to spend, maybe a full day out here. But at any rate, we're going to do the Big Arsenic Trail, which we've heard good things about. It's right next to the Big Arsenic Campground, not to be confused with the Little Arsenic Campground. So pick your poison, I suppose. At any rate, let's start our hike. We're about 6/10 of a mile into the hike now. We've descended a little over 500 feet. So you can see we're getting very close to the river now. We started at about 7,500 feet and we're at about 6,900 now. If you've ever been to the north rim of the Grand Canyon, I think you'd probably agree that the scenery here is a little bit similar to that. Certainly different than the south rim of the Grand Canyon, which is a little more barren. Here you've got a number of trees like you have on the north rim, both pinyon trees, pine trees, also cactus. Of course, there are significant differences between this gorge and the Grand Canyon, namely the elevation change at the Grand Canyon from the north rim to the river is approximately 7,000 feet elevation change, whereas here maybe 700 feet. And from the north rim to the south rim of the Grand Canyon, as the crow flies, is, I believe, about 9 miles. And here, I'm guessing from one rim to the other, less than a mile. They look pretty close. So easy hike so far, of course, because we're going down. So we're just about to the end of the trail. So far as I can tell, the trail doesn't go directly to the river, but there are some side trails that you can take off of it to get to the river if you're so inclined, and we'll probably do that. But we kept going because we wanted to find these petroglyphs, which I was told are here, and sure enough, here they are. I'll have to do a little research to see what the age of these are, but very cool. I think you can pick these up real well on the camera here. There are a few day shelters down here, 3-sided shelters, and a pit toilet as well. So there's some development here, and that looks like there are a number of probably unofficial side trails and spurs. So if you're inclined, I think you can extend your hike. But the official hike, I'm not sure how much further it goes. I think we're just about to the end of it, but the petroglyphs definitely the bonus. If for no other reason you'd want to do this hike just to see these, but you also get a beautiful gorge and the Rio Grande River. We've come to what I believe is the end of the trail. I believe this is Big Arsenic Springs here. This is natural spring, little waterfall here, which flows then downhill into the Rio Grande. Beyond this point, the trail is overgrown, hard to follow, and probably not the official trail anymore. I've gone 1.3 miles, had a little detour in there, so that's about what the one-way portion of the trail is. So we're gonna turn around, head back. We'll stop by and get some better shots of the river on the way back up. Well, it's also possible that this is Big Arsenic Springs. Signage could be better, so I'm not really sure. But again, we have a natural spring, a little waterfall, and then leading down to the river. And to the river is where we're gonna head right now. Okay, we've made it to the Rio Grande. There you see the little waterfall and spring that I mentioned a moment ago. So the Rio Grande River, here in the Rio Grande del Norte National Monument. About a mile or two from here at La Junta Point is the confluence of the Rio Grande and the Red River. We were able to see that from an overlook about 800 feet above the river. This is the second time I've been this close to the Rio Grande this year. The other time was at Big Bend National Park in Texas. Now there, we were able to take a rowboat across the river. It was a little bit wider than the river here, and you could either wade across or you could take a rowboat across into Mexico in the little village of Boquillas, where there was a couple Mexican restaurants and some street vendors. They recommended that you didn't wade across because they said upstream they had released raw sewage into the river. I don't think that's a concern here. We're quite a ways. If you were to wade across the river here, it'd be a little more difficult, I believe, because there is some current and some rapids here. It does look doable here, and actually further upstream it looks like you could almost skip across in some rocks there. Of course, unlike at Big Bend National Park, if you made it to the other side of the river here, you'll still be in the United States, you'll still be in New Mexico. So not sure what reason you'd have to go to the other side, just other than to say that you've been there and to do it. That's usually enough for me, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to hang out here for a little bit, maybe enjoy a snack, and then start to head back up. Okay, we're coming up on our final switchback here to the rim. We'll take one last look at the trail below us and at the river. So all in all, we're coming in at about 2.6 miles, right at about an hour and a half for the hike, 800-foot elevation gain. This hike is rated as difficult, and that's because of the climb out of the gorge, of course. The first half of the hike, easy. Second half of the hike, strenuous. So make your own judgment as to whether that equals a difficult hike. Certainly did do some huffing and puffing on the way up here. No question about that. I don't know if this is the norm or not, but we pretty much had the trail to ourselves today. Passed 2 people and 2 dogs on the way down, and no one after that. Didn't see anyone at the bottom. No one as we hiked up to the rim. And there was only one other car in the parking lot at the trailhead when we arrived. So, good hike. Definitely recommend it if you're ever in this area. It is a little bit of work coming up, as you can tell. I'm still doing some huffing and puffing here, but certainly worth it. You get a lot in a small hike, You get the gorge, which is beautiful. You get the river, which is pretty spectacular to see. Petroglyphs, very cool to think about how long those have been there and who else has passed that way. A spring, if you can find it, and a nice workout on your way up. So a little out of the way if you're in Taos. Take you a couple hours round trip travel time, but I would say definitely worth it. I would recommend this hike and recommend this scenic area to explore. So that's going to do it. This is our final video from Taos. As usual, we'll thank our non-sponsors: Nike, Hoka, Fitbit, Osprey, Camelback, All Trails, and of course Toyota. We think we may have just enough time, if we hurry, to make it to Taos Cal for one final scoop of ice cream. Check back on this channel periodically for more adventures on the road with JVW as we continue to explore New Mexico. Thanks for watching.